So today some huge news just got dropped for 2XKO, as last year they already gave us a heads up that Alpha Lab 2 will be this year, I think sometime in the summer, and in this video Tony stated that shortly after the Alpha Lab 2 that they want to release the game. So they've just been polishing it and adding changes to the game that I will be going over in this video that I think are super helpful and beneficial to everyone, and just make the game feel a lot smoother and intuitive. So first up, they are changing some controls in order to help prevent performing unwanted actions, such as when you want to run and then do like a running medium or something, you might get an overhead or a sweep or something. So now overheads are performed by pressing down and forward plus medium. Sweeps, at least characters that have sweeps, are now performed by pressing down and forward plus heavy.
And then the other thing I want to talk about was team button simplification. Forward plus team to call your forward assist, especially out of block, was a little bit of a struggle because sometimes you would get push block and then, lose a bar, and it just wasn't very intuitive with how you'd want to pressure folks. So now, you just press team, that does your old forward assist. Just like before, holding back and hitting team, that does your old back assist. Then you might be wondering like, well, hey, how do I do tag launcher? Because I used to press team for that. Well, we want to make it consistent and easy to remember. If down and heavy is your launcher with anti-air properties, then down and team is your tag launcher. And so those are pretty consistent now and easy to remember.
Supers no longer have a down-down input because they acknowledge that doing down-down inputs on like pad can be a little hard if you're playing on analog stick or something. So now supers are performed by just pressing any normal plus assist 1 or super 1 and super 2. And then the ultimates are performed by pressing super 1 plus super 2. So now for some gameplay changes, we'll be focusing on the fuses. So now they removed the pulse fuse and it's a toggleable fuse at the character select screen, but it doesn't take away your primary fuse that you can pick when you can actually combine these. So I think that's pretty neat. It's going to help a lot of beginner players. If you don't know, the pulse fuse is like the auto combo fuse where it'll do supers and stuff if you have the meter. But then they also added new fuses called the Sidekick and Juggernaut fuses. These both take away the anchor character, letting the point player focus on their gameplay. Again, this is going to be super helpful for newer players that just don't want to be overwhelmed with like learning assist timing and all that stuff, so they can just focus on learning their actual character that they are piloting. But, so even though it takes away the anchor character, you can still swap between the characters at the beginning of the round. If you hold like assist 1 or super 1 or super 2 or whatever, or the tag button, I can't remember. At the beginning of each round, you can still tag in and have your teammate, or if you're playing solo, just play the other character. So I'll go over the Sidekick fuse properties. It allows the anchor player to use assists and supers. The supers can be used in tandem with the point player supers. So if the point player uses a super, then the Sidekick user that's on the sidelines can tag in. It won't tag them in, but it'll tag them in to use the super and then tag them out. And now there is a new mechanic. I think it's only if they die. I can't remember unless I misunderstood it, but the Sidekick user can soften the damage of combos from of their teammate by timing button presses from their opponent in tandem of their opponent getting hit. So I think this is taken from Diesel Legacy, because there's also another gameplay change I feel like they took from Diesel Legacy, but I think it's really useful and a good addition. Now with the Juggernaut fuse, this doesn't allow assists. It gives the anchor player certain buffs. For example, you can perform a snapback, which is similar to the Marvel games where you like knock out their character that's currently out, and then you can bring their anchor character in, and then you can go for a mix-up. Also with the Juggernaut fuse, since you're solo dolo, you can perform super to super by pressing S1 or S2, whatever, during your first super. And if you want to do an you can go from super to ultimate as well. So you do your super and then you just press S1 plus S2 and you will go to your ultimate. So that's it for fuse changes. Now on to some general gameplay changes. Limit Strike is a new mechanic and it allows the player to end in like the same major hit reaction. And a hit reaction would be like a wall bounce, a ground bounce, and a tumble. So if you end in these combos twice, usually you couldn't do this before in the first Alpha Lab, but now when you do, you get bonuses. So if you end in a wall bounce twice, it gives you a meter bonus. If you end in a ground bounce twice, it gives you a damage bonus. And if you end in a tumble twice, it'll give you a hard knockdown. Now they finally added get up options, so you can hold forward or backward to get up roll. So that way you're not just endlessly stuck in the corner taking a vortex. And you can also do a get up attack by holding S1 or S2. So I think this is just gonna make like defense options on Wake Up a lot easier to do. I know you could do a get up attack, but I'm not sure there was like a roll in the last Alpha Lab. So now being able to roll on Wake Up is super helpful, especially in a tag fighter where there's constant ambiguous mix-ups that can happen. And some assists got slowed down, such as Echo and Ari. The devs felt that they were just too fast. They came out and you could just take your turn and pressure the opponent too easy. So now they are up to 15 frames startup when you call these assists out. So when a champion dies, the remaining champion gets their 50% of their teammates' meter, and then they gain a damage and defense boost at the 30% threshold of the health bar. And then your break, as you can see below the health meter, becomes Fury Break. And this is your burst when you're getting comboed or you're taking pressure blocking. So you gain the damage boost with the Fury Break. And with the Juggernaut and Sidekick fuses, you actually start out with this Fury Break. When you have it and you activate it, it lasts 10 seconds if done offensively or defensively. So if you're using it in like a combo to extend your combo, or you're using it defensively to get your opponent off you during block pressure or a combo, it will activate, and this lasts 10 seconds. But if you just activate it in neutral, it lasts 20 seconds. But the trade-off is you can't use it in combos or like save yourself if you just do it in neutral. And during Fury Break, when it's activated, you can dash cancel after special moves to extend combos or create crazy ambiguous mix-up as shown by Sean here.
Let's see if Clock can block this.
Oh my.
So
Yeah, I would block the second part.
there's a lot of would'ves.
Push blocking, people kind of didn't like that it costs 1 bar, and once you were like down to low health and possibly like no meter, it was just hard to make a comeback. So push blocking no longer costs 1 bar, and you can handshake tag out of it, but it is now reliant on the assist character to keep the anchor out of damage or out of danger. So if you're playing with a friend, it's up to them to use push block. And this was that mechanic I was talking about earlier with the Diesel Legacy that I feel like they took from it, where you can soften damage from the opponent's combos by timing button presses with the opponent's attacks. Now, when your assist is dead, you can still call them, but at the cost of meter. And you can also use their super, but their super is actually dictated by the remaining champion that's still piloting in the middle of the fight. So you're gonna have to take it up with your dead teammate and be like, hey man, I'm gonna have to use your meter here if I wanna if we want to win, so it might spark an argument. But hey, I think that aspect of this game is going to be fun. So what do you think of these changes? These aren't like every single change. There's still some changes I missed, but I feel like these were super important to get out of the way. And yeah, look forward to Alpha Lab 2 later this year. I think it should be sometime in, like, I want to say July. Hopefully, but they did state again that soon after Alpha Lab 2, they want to release the game. So the game is coming out this year, 100%, which I'm super excited. And yeah, what do you think of these changes? And also in that video, I'll link it in the description, they go over some Jinx stuff and a full match between the developers. So if you want to watch that, I will have, again, a link in the description. So yeah, let me know of your thoughts of these changes, and I'm so looking forward to this game. I can't wait. But this is DarkSense signing out, and I hope you take care.